Citrus soda, a typically radioactive green-colored soda with a, well, citrusy taste. Often consisting of lemon, lime, and orange flavors mixed together, this light green beverage has become extremely popular worldwide. But who first concocted this style of beverage? Well, that answer is clear, yet perception of its origins is muddied by the various fan bases of the different citrus sodas available. 3 different companies have taken credit for being the original or first citrus soda over the years, including Mountain Dew, Sundrop, and Ski. We have been told by each of these companies that they are the original citrus beverage, and their respective fan bases reiterate these companies' statements. But it turns out that we have all been misled by all of these companies and their fans, because none of them are the original citrus soda. Kind of. I'll get to that. But beyond these beverages, I wanted to go through and talk about every major citrus soda that has come out through the years. I love the generic store brands like Mountain Lightning, Mountain Lion, or Hillbilly Holler, but I will only cover the major brands, and none of the store knockoffs today, though I may in the future. This video will also almost be like the Pepsi's Lemon Lime Soda Woes video, in that I will be talking about how Coca-Cola's attempts to compete with Mountain Dew have historically flopped. So there will be multiple topics covered in this comprehensive list of citrus sodas. The very first citrus soda to ever hit the market was released for the first time in 1926, which for all of you math whizzes was 98 years ago. The soda, a brand that still exists to this day called Ale 8. Ale 8 is a brand of soda that still manages to fly under the radar, a brand that not many have heard of outside of a certain area. Ale 8 has been distributed historically exclusively in the state of Kentucky, since basically the beverage's inception. The only way outside of Kentucky, or outside of an online purchase, to obtain this drink typically would be through Cracker Barrel stores, as the gift shop carries Ale 8 to several other states outside of Kentucky. Though on a brief side note, Cracker Barrel also carries its competitors, with glass bottles of Ski available at certain Cracker Barrels as well. As of 2015, though, Ale 8 has expanded to some counties in Ohio, Indiana, and Virginia as well. Ale 8's formula was created originally by one G.L. Wainscott, who had previously developed a cola alternative known as Roxa-Cola. Ale 8 was created using, curiously, ginger recipes collected from Europe. For my fellow citrus soda connoisseurs, you'll note that ginger is not a typical ingredient in Mountain Dew-based beverages. But nevertheless, since its inception, and to this day, Ale 8 is described as a citrus soda by the brand. And while it sports a more clear color, similar to lemon lime sodas, rather than the typical radiated ooze color of other citrus sodas, it is nevertheless still largely considered to be the first citrus soda. Ale 8 has a very similar taste to the other citrus sodas I will talk about next, and its flavor I do personally enjoy quite a bit. It does contain something a little extra though, a little gingery. The formula itself, as usually with sodas, is a closely guarded family secret to the company, that only a select few have inherited, so we do not know how similar to Mountain Dew the exact composition is, though through scientific studies it has been learned that it has less caffeine than some of its competitors. Ale 8, like a few other citrus flavors I'll talk about shortly, spiraled into becoming a full-blown brand of soda. Nowadays you can find Ale 8 Cherry, Ale 8 Orange Cream, Ale 8 Blackberry, and Ale 8 Peach, among others. It is still distributed via glass bottles, but can also be acquired in cans. I believe the reason why Ale 8 flew so under the radar is because of its low circulation nationwide, leading to a very small yet very dedicated fan base for the flavor. But what came after Ale 8 next? Some people may still regard Ale 8 as only a half contender in this race, as it is a blend of ginger and citrus. Therefore, the second spot will still demand a lot of respect. As a huge Mountain Dew fan, it is with delight that I bring news that it came next. Arguably the most popular citrus soda on this list by far, and most certainly the largest distributed globally, Mountain Dew was first released in 1940, 84 years ago. Originally synonymous in its branding with hillbillies on the logo and only being available in glass bottles in certain regions, Pepsi-Cola in the 1960s swooped in, seeing opportunity, and scooped up what would ultimately become an incredibly valuable brand. As of 2023, the Mountain Dew brand represents a 6.6% share of the market for soft drinks in the United States, making it an extremely valuable asset for PepsiCo. In the early 2000s, PepsiCo began marketing Mountain Dew towards the perceived younger, cooler generation, gearing it towards teenagers, skaters, and video gamers, with various promotions throughout the 2000s through to today to reach that market. At this time, they introduced countless spin-off flavors that now have fan bases just as dedicated to them, or more dedicated to them, than the fans to the original flavor. Well-known Mountain Dew flavor spin-offs include Code Red, Baja Blast, Voltage, Live Wire, Whiteout, Game Fuel Citrus Cherry, and Pitch Black. They also release various seasonal flavors, such as July 4th themed flavors like Dew-SA or Liberty Brew, Halloween mystery flavors every year called Voodoo, and Christmas flavors like Merry Mashup, Holiday Brew, Ginger Smash, and Fruit Quake. Additionally, Mountain Dew spin-off flavors have delved into the energy drink market with Amp, Kickstart, and Rise Energy. Mountain Dew is a powerhouse and a titan of a brand that now competes with the likes of Dr. Pepper as one of the most popular cola alternatives in the world, with literally hundreds of spin-off flavors in their lengthy catalog. See my outdated video from a few years ago for an idea of just how many. Mountain Dew is an absolute force in the soda world. 9 years after the introduction of Mountain Dew came Sundrop in 1949. Sundrop had a very similar origin story to both Ale 8 and Mountain Dew, as it was conceived of and distributed in an originally very small portion of the southern United States. Sundrop first was created in Missouri, before subsequently receiving a small glass bottle release through the southern United States. It was originally marketed as the Golden Cola, utilizing its bright color as a way to stand out. In 2008, the Keurig Dr. Pepper beverage group, which owns 7-Up, RC Cola, and Sunkist, acquired Sundrop and began distributing it to wider markets across the United States. Seemingly, the Keurig Dr. Pepper Corporation intended for Sundrop to become a competitor to PepsiCo's Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola's Mellow Yellow. Sundrop has remained a powerful contender in the citrus soda scene and has continued to be successful enough to warrant a few spin-off flavors, such as caffeine-free and cherry variants. Sundrop scored a definitive victory in the citrus soda scene with its wide availability at most Sonic locations, which was chosen in favor of Coca-Cola's Mellow Yellow. After Sundrop came Ski in 1956. A Tennessee creation, Ski quickly became a popular citrus alternative soda, and the fanbase has often cited it as the original citrus soda, which we do know now to be an error. Ski was created by and continues to be owned by the Double Cola Company, the producers of a relatively popular regional cola. Ski did well enough to become its own brand, as it began introducing new flavors in the early 2000s, including Cherry Ski, Caffeine-Free Ski, and most recently Tropical Ski. Ski is regionally available in Alabama, Alaska, California, Georgia, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and West Virginia. It can nationally be obtained via Cracker Barrel locations. Ski is somewhat unique in that it utilizes real lemon juice and orange juice in its formula. I really enjoy the taste of Ski, and would point it out as perhaps the second best citrus soda next to Mountain Dew. After Ski came out, our next brand, Kickapoo Joy Juice, comes to the light. Kickapoo Joy Juice is fascinating in that it originally comes from a comic strip by Al Cap called Lil Abner. In that comic series, which ran from 1934 to 1977, the drink was actually depicted as an alcoholic drink. Finally, in 1965, we got a real-world Kickapoo Joy Juice, one that was a lightly carbonated citrus soda with a radioactive green color. Kickapoo Joy Juice was created by the New Grape Soda brand, a popular independent grape soda. Kickapoo Joy Juice marketed itself in a similar vein as Mountain Dew had originally, suggesting it wanted to occupy the same niche within the beverage world. Kickapoo Joy Juice persists to this day, and several spin-off flavors including Kickapoo Fruit Shine, Kickapoo Fuzzy Navel, what? Kickapoo Malibu, and Kickapoo Lemonade. The drink is available at several locations nationwide, and managed to acquire a dedicated, somewhat quirky by design, fan base. A short 3 years later, Coca-Cola saw the success of Mountain Dew under the PepsiCo management, and wanted in on the action. Dipping their toes in the water, throwing their hat in the ring, Coca-Cola began to test Mountain Dew's formula, and devise their own creation. The new recipe was dubbed Simba, a word meaning lion in Swahili. Sporting a lion on the design, Coca-Cola introduced Simba in 1968. It is reported that a great deal of effort, research, and resources went into Simba, and that Coke expected Simba to be their next big thing. But unfortunately for them, their national release was met with a lukewarm reception, followed by a bit of controversy. Coca-Cola attempted an ill-fated campaign to advertise their brand towards the African-American demographic, attempting to reach what they considered to be a new audience, complete with some very poorly aged commercials, depicting a phenomenon they called the African thirst, something that could only be cured by Simba, according to the commercial. You can check it out for yourself now.
Africa. This is your place of business. Day in and day out. The ground and the sun and the heat punish you relentlessly. And the constant tension and danger chew on your nerves. And soon you fall prey to the African thirst. It strikes your throat first, then your whole body, and finally your mind. The African thirst works on the animals too. But unlike them, you can find relief, a cure, a drink. A drink that'll never quit until it's whipped, the African thirst. A drink that smacks the throat hard and works all the way down. Simba, that's your drink. Simba, it conquers the African thirst. Sometimes when you're tracking elephant under the blazing African sun, all you end up with is the African thirst. So you grab for Simba. Simba, it conquers the African thirst. You're an animal doctor. All day you've been tracking an injured rhino in the blazing African heat. Ahead, the ranger will knock him out with a drug-filled dart. You move in to treat the wound. But the tough job is going to be getting him up again. You push, you pull, the sun burns down, your throat dries up, and you're in the grip of the African thirst. So you go for treatment. Simba, that's your cure. Simba, it goes for your throat. Simba, it conquers the African thirst.
The commercial, as you just saw, made some decisions that were immediately questioned by some news outlets. Quickly turning into a disastrous brand indeed, Coca-Cola quickly shifted gears and discontinued Simba, effectively wiping their hands of the Simba debacle. Only 11 years after the Simba catastrophe, Coca-Cola once more attempted to compete with PepsiCo's Mountain Dew, introducing Mellow Yellow to the masses in 1979. Mellow Yellow persists to this day, despite a turbulent history. It has managed to become arguably the second biggest citrus soda in the world in terms of popularity. Sporting a yellow color in sharp, stark contrast to Mountain Dew's green, Mellow Yellow made an effort to be distinct, and even created offshoot flavors like Mellow Yellow Cherry to compete with Mountain Dew's spin-off Code Red. Mellow Yellow Afterglow and Mellow Yellow Melon were former flavors too that were introduced to pad out the brand. Several Mellow Yellow spin-off flavors do exist now at present, via Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. During the 1990s, Mellow Yellow's production and marketing campaigns were briefly toned back, never with a full-scale discontinuation, but several other flavors Coca-Cola introduced at this time that replaced it for brief spans as the primary citrus soda on the market from them. In 1996, Coca-Cola began testing a new citrus soda in Norway, which they released called Urge. Urge still exists to this day in Norway, and due to its success at the time, the brand was launched in the United States shortly after its successful launch as Surge. Surge, like Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow, has an extremely dedicated and passionate fan base. Surge was marketed as being the hardcore, cool citrus soda, and was seen to be somewhat edgy.
Surge. It's a fully loaded citrus soda with carbos. Beat the rush.
Introduced in 1997, a year after Urge's release, Surge was extremely popular amongst a young generation of consumers, until it was discontinued in 2003 to make way for the next citrus soda on the list. Surge's story doesn't end there, though, as in 2014 it saw a brief revival via Amazon, due in part to fans clamoring for it via social media. Campaigns such as Save Surge could be found on various websites and groups. This prompted a 2015 release in the eastern United States, being distributed primarily to Dollar Tree locations and other dollar stores in 16-ounce cans. Before that run too fizzled out in 2018. Luckily for Surge fans, it was brought back again permanently, exclusively to Burger King Coca-Cola Freestyle locations, this time with some spin-off flavors in its lineup. Surge persists to this day via that medium, and remains possibly the third most popular citrus soda. It seems to me to be kind of regarded by many 90s kids as a cult classic beverage of sorts. There's definite nostalgia there. The final brand we have on this list is Vault. Vault was envisioned as a citrus-flavored energy drink soda hybrid, which launched in 2005 by Coca-Cola, after they removed Surge to make room for the new brand. A lot of the ingredients to Vault were similar to Surge, showing a crossover in the formula. Vault was released with a seemingly Code Red-inspired competitor called Vault Red Blitz. Vault was received seemingly relatively well, but in 2011 it was discontinued simultaneously with Coca-Cola's Mellow Yellow's revamp and expansion. Vault became a third casualty of Coca-Cola's citrus soda lineage, joining Simba and Surge in the citrus soda afterlife. Coca-Cola's Mellow Yellow appears to have been a success though, and it is perhaps a worthy competitor to Mountain Dew for Coca-Cola. In terms of popularity, Mountain Dew still has a clear monopoly on the citrus soda market, with Mellow Yellow and Sundrop vying for the second spot. Ale 8, Ski, and Kickapoo Joy Juice enjoy moderate success regionally in certain areas of the US, and Surge has locked down Burger King's fountain machine. Overall, in the end, Coca-Cola found their citrus soda contender, and we can finally look at a timeline of citrus sodas and find out who truthfully was the first. And the answer? Ale 8, from a certain point of view. Because others could still argue for Mountain Dew being the first purely citrus soda to be released. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and found the topic as fascinating as I did. Let me know in the comments if you want to see other soda videos. There's so many topics to cover, from the explosive Cola Wars, to the new Coke debacle, to the kamikaze release of Tab Clear, or even a coffee company tanking a Mountain Dew brand. There is a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see, and thank you for watching.